Gladewater man convicted of first-degree murder in 2015 is getting a new sentencing trial after appealing his punishment. 33-year-old Kobe Hudgens was originally sentenced to 99 years in prison for fatally shooting his girlfriend's best friend in 2013. As KLTV7's Lauren Tier reports, the state's highest criminal court is granting this retrial based on a diagnosis of PTSD.
Kobe Hudgens originally appealed the case in January of 2018, but it was rejected. The appeal asserted that Hudgens did not believe he received effective legal counseling, resulting in a murder conviction as opposed to a manslaughter conviction. Now, appellate court judges have concurred the formal PTSD diagnosis of the defendant warrants a new punishment hearing. According to the opinion, the PTSD stems from childhood sexual assault. This information was not discussed in the guilt-innocence phase of the 2015 trial and was not professionally diagnosed in Hudgens until years after. But in the concurrent opinion of Judge Burt Richardson, it reads, quote, because he now brings expert evidence showing a PTSD diagnosis and that he was suffering PTSD at the time of the offense, I join the majority and concur in granting him a new punishment hearing. In the new trial, the report of the formal diagnosis, quote, provides a more concrete basis for the jury to deliberate on because it allows Dr. French to actually opine on the appellant's potential for recidivism or likeliness to reoffend. Lauren Tier, KLTV 7 News.
A date for the new punishment phase of the trial has not been set.